I'm Chris Nuttycombe. The talk that I'm going to give today is about the Zcash dev tool. Um, the Zcash dev tool is a platform for hacking on Zcash. And my goal here is to show you just how easy it is to start working with the dev tool and a few things about what you can do with it. So to get started, this demo is going to be entirely live coding, and I'm going to start off by the way that a new user or a new developer using the dev tool would start off, which is just by cloning the Git repository and building it and running the help. So here we go. All right, get a clone of it. And in here, I'm going to just use cargo run to build and run the application. It's going to take a little bit to build all the dependencies, and so I'm going to give you then a bit more of an introduction while that's happening. All right, so what is Zcash DevTool? Zcash DevTool is a command line application, and it's intended to be sort of the Swiss Army knife for the Zcash ecosystem. It contains in it tools for inspecting Zcash stuff, so Zcash addresses, Zcash transactions, PCZTs. It contains an embedded light client wallet that's built on the Libra Zcash stack, so using Zcash client backend and Zcash client SQLite. Um, and we use it as, in development continuously to test out and prototype our new tooling. It's very useful in that you can hook it up to local dependencies. So if you're working on something in Zcash client backend and you want to test a wallet that's using that new functionality, you just provide you just use a local patch directive to refer to that dependency, and then you can immediately test the functionality that you're working on. So the first thing that I'm going to walk through once we're done building here is we're just going to start by looking at the help documentation. And then we will go through some uses of Zcash inspect. And then we're going to start working with the wallet. And in that process, we'll find some deficiencies in the current wallet functionality that's implemented. And we're just going to fix those as we go along. So hopefully you'll get a sense of how to get in and make changes yourself. So I see right now a question, the different roles that Zcash DevTool and Zale play for developers looking to build on Zcash. So Zale is intended to be a robust wallet connected to a full node that provides functionality that's, say, suitable for exchanges, and that recapitulates the existing Zcashd wallet APIs, RPC APIs, so that integration is easy for those sorts of partners. Zcash DevTool is actually very different. Zcash DevTool is it is a stateless tool, so each command that you run has some effect, but then it's done. And that's really useful for, you don't have to like poke at a running system. You can sort of single step the operations of the wallet in order to really narrow down what you're testing. You don't have to worry about a system that's maintaining state and that is running all the time. You can just do a single thing. The other thing that's different between Zcash DevTool and Zale is that Zcash DevTool is really designed in this command-based fashion that makes it really easy to add new functionality. Whereas with Zale, since it's going to be a big running process, getting new functionality into that wallet may involve just more complexity. There's locking that has to be done and so forth. with the Zcash DevTool stateless approach, you just write one command that does one thing, and you run it, and it does what it needs to do. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to use, that we're going to look at here is we just printed out the help, and we can see what commands are available to us. So the first one I want to demonstrate is just the inspect command. And the inspect command is kind of interesting because you can basically give to inspect anything Zcash, or at least that's the intent. So here I've given it a testnet unified address, and Zcash inspect gives me back some information about that testnet unified address. It gives me the network that it's on. It tells me what the various parts of it are. And if I were to look at just one of these parts, okay, it says, sure, this is a Zcash address. It's a valid testnet sapling address. I could throw other things at Zcash inspect. So for example, instead of inspecting a sapling address, I can inspect, oops, I need to fix my paste buffer here. There's a full Zcash transaction, and it will go through and it will tell me some things about that transaction. It'll tell me that it has sapling spends and orchard actions in it. It's in the process, it validates it. So if you ever have a Zcash transaction that that you're trying to broadcast to the chain and that's getting rejected from the chain, if there are any problems, Zcash inspect will tell me what the problems there are, and it has a relatively nice error display. The happy path here is kind of the simple case. All right, so that's an overview of Zcash inspect. Just throw whatever you want at it. You can throw PCZT serialized data at it. You can throw, and if there are other types of content that you think that need inspection functionality, it's relatively straightforward to add new parsers to Zcash inspect. And the way that it works is we just try out parsing with each different kind of parser that we have. And when we find one that works, we then execute all of the logic to show what you've got. All right, so the next thing that we're going to do is we are going to set up a wallet. So first, let's look at what commands we have available for the wallet. So there's a variety of things that we can, and the first thing we're going to do is just initialize a new wallet. To see how that works, we're just going to call wallet init and pass it the help flag. And now we see the different options that are available to us to actually set up our new wallet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up a new wallet, give it a name. There's my Zcon VI test. And I'm going to, I need to give it a directory to work in. And I'm going to let it specify its own passphrase and figure out its own birthday. I am going to pass an identity file. I'm going to just add in that dev wallet directory. You'll note that I'm setting up the dev wallet directory outside of the Git root so that I don't accidentally commit anything from my development wallet to Git as I'm working on it. So in here, So I'm just going to call it key.txt. This is going to be the default for the network is testnet. I can set that anyway. And then for the server that I'm going to connect to, I'm going to connect to Zecrox. All right. So given that, it's going to set up a Tor connection so that it can pull the light client information over Tor. And now it's done. So if I look back at that dev wallet directory, I can see that I now have my key.txt file that I specified, a couple of SQLite databases, a blocks directory, and a Tor directory. And so now I have a wallet that's ready to run. So next thing I'm going to do, now that I've initialized, is let's just look at the balance. So, oh, no balance summary. I don't have enough information yet. That means that I need to sync the wallet. So, all right, there's sync done. And now I should be able to check the wallet. Sapling spendable 0, orchard spendable 0, unshielded spendable 0. But we're in a good place. We have now, you can see that it's displayed for me the default address for that wallet. And so the next thing that I need to do is I need to fund the wallet with some Zec, with some testnet Zec. And so to do that, I'm going to use the list addresses command. All right, so there's the default address for the wallet, and I'm a little bit annoyed. Um, I've got this default address here, and I could copy paste it to Signal and send it to myself to my phone, but I actually, I have a testnet wallet on my phone, a testnet Zashi, and I just want to be able to scan a QR code. So I'm going to just go in and hack that in. I'm going to go in and work on the list addresses command and add the ability to display a QR code containing that address. So let's go do it. So I go and I find the thing that says list addresses. And all right, here's where my address is being generated. Um, I'm pulling the default address from the account's UIVK and then encoding it. I know that I'm going to need to reuse that encoding, so I'm going to just do this. Oops. And I want to render this as a QR code. Now, I happen to know that elsewhere in this project, we already have QR code rendering. So I'm just going to steal some of that code and hack it in. And I think this is all I need. All right. So I'm going to generate a QR code with that UA string. Um, and I'm going to need to make a couple of imports here. And then I just need to print out that QR code. All right. That's basically the change. That's it. We've just added the ability to take that string that we encoded for our unified address and, using a standard Rust library, spit it out to the screen. So let's see if it works. So it's going to have to rebuild because I changed a few things here. I think my IDE was helpful enough to keep me from making any silly errors. The computer's a little bit loaded right now because it's also running Zoom and running a testnet node in the background so that I can make sure that there's sufficient mining power. Oh, but there's our QR code. So I'm going to scan that in my testnet Zashi, and I'm going to send that transaction, and then that will get mined in a few minutes, and we will come back and take a look at it in a bit. All right, so that's we're now to the point where we have a funded wallet. We can take a look. So in order to find that transaction, once it gets mined, we'll have to sync again. We can try it right now, just in case. All right, well, there have been some blocks added. So if we have a balance, nope, hasn't arrived yet. So that's all right. We'll go off and do something else. All right, so the next thing that I wanted to do, so we've just gone in and we've edited an existing command to add some functionality so that it now displays this QR code so I can be lazy and use my Zashi wallet to fund my my test address here. But a really common thing that I want to be able to do is to refer to a local dependency to do some development. So I have Libra Zcash checked out here, and I have it checked out on a branch. And that branch has some new functionality on it that I intend to use. The functionality that's on this branch that I'm really excited to test out is address rotation. So we've added more robust address rotation that takes transparent gap limits into account when generating addresses. And so I want to try that out in our Zcash dev tool. So the first thing I need to do in order to do that is I'm going to need to add a patch directive to the cargo toml to point to my local development directory. So I'm going to do that here. And I have a set of patches that I routinely use, and I'm just going to paste those in now. Instead of these, I'm just going to paste these. So I'm replacing all of these pinned revision patches with paths to my my local checkout of Libra Zcash. And let's rebuild just to make sure that everything is still working with our existing functionality, but building with that new branch. Okay, while this is happening, I see a question: can I connect Zcash dev tool to a local Zebra node with Lightwallet D or Zyno? Absolutely. In order to do that, you're going to need to hack on Zcash dev tool a little bit. So we can go and look at that in just a moment here. Let's see. Let's just, while that's building in another pane, we can look at it here. So if we look at source-remote.rs, you can find all of the servers that we currently have hard-coded. And there is, you can also just provide a hostname :port when specifying your Light Wallet node when you specify the server. All right, that built fine, still no balance. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add a new command. Oh, are there things that the dev tool should not be used for? This is a dev tool. Don't commit a significant amount of funds to it. We can't stop you from doing that, but it's generally not wise. This tool may be broken at any given time with respect to its, if it's being used to test out new functionality and there are bugs in that new functionality that haven't been released yet. The DevTool repository frequently points at patch revisions of our Libra Zcash crates, and so you can't rely on it to be a safe place for storing funds. It is intended for development. All right. So I'm going to go in and I want to add a command to add address rotation so that we can generate a new address. So I'm going to start from where we just were, the list addresses command. And I'm going to look at the directory it's in, and I'm just going to add a new command, a new Rust module here. So genadder.rs. It says it's not included anywhere in the module tree, so I'll have to fix that. Maybe I'll go and fix that first. And I'm just going to put it here. Okay, that's fixed now. So the next thing I'm going to do is the classic what do you do when you're hacking on a new system? You copy paste. Copied my genadder command into here, and now we're going to start editing. All right, so for a lot of purposes, this is going to be kind of the same. We still want an account ID to be something that you can specify on the command line, so I'm going to keep all of that functionality. But instead of getting the default address from the UIVK, I'm going to use a function on the wallet write trait, which is implemented for the wallet database, to generate a new address. So this is the newly added function that that has just been added to LibreZcash. So I'm going to say db data. Oh, and this is not yet giving me. I'm going to just help my IDE out a little bit here. I know I just added that to the wallet write trait, so this. All right. Apparently, it's taking a little bit for my IDE to catch up. So I'm just gonna, well, let's go back and take a look at. Oh, it's because I'd forgotten what I called it. And I need to look at the arguments here. I need an account ID and a unified address request. So I have an account ID, and I need a unified address request. And I'm just going to ask for an address with all available keys. And this this method, I know I look back again at the type, it returns an option of tuple of unified address and diversifier index. And so I'm just gonna, I know that there are keys available here. For right now, since I'm just hacking, I'm just gonna unwrap this because I know that I just used a valid account ID. All right, so, and this is not default address, this is just the address. Everything else here, I think it's going to stay the same. So let's try and compile it. I should have done cargo check with all features. All right. So this is the command that I've just created, but I just remembered I forgot to do something in the process. Um, when I went in to add the module to the wallet file, I didn't actually add a command. So let's do that. Let's just add a command. All right. And so now, once I've done that, okay, uh, get next available. Oh, there's a problem with my get next available address. And that's just because I didn't need this when I previously initialized my wallet database, but I need a clock because one of the things that uh, our new address generation functionality depends upon is for shielded only addresses, it will use timestamp based address generation um, to basically make it so that you don't have um, to do as careful of bookkeeping of diversifier indexes. That's only used for shielded only addresses because if a transparent address included such a receiver, then uh, you would have gap limit violations. All right. So so there's one more thing that I need to do. Build it again. So I've added this command, but I need to actually add the command to main. So um, right here, it's complaining that I haven't added this. So what I have to do is change that little bit. And now when we run this, we should get a new command in the help. The CLI framework that this is built around is called CLAP, and as you can see, it's pretty seamless to create a new command line option or a new command line mode to allow you to build out new functionality. So there's a question in the chat right now. How is this tool designed in order to add new functionality like ZSAs, new memos, etc., been becoming in the next Zcash network upgrade? All right, so there's our generate address command. Let's try it out. Oh, I forgot to. And there we go. And if I scroll up a little bit, you test one QLF. And now if I call it again, you test one Q38. So we are successfully generating successive addresses. And we've just added, new and useful functionality to Zcash DevTool. Now it probably needs to be cleaned up a little bit. But that's the foundation, is that you can readily go in, add commands, access your local branches that you're building on. So the question in the chat is, how is this tool designed in order to add new functionality like ZSAs, new memos, etc., that may be coming in the next Zcash network upgrade? The answer to that is that the core functionality will be going into Zcash primitives, Zcash client backend. ZSAs will be going into the orchard crate. Each part of the stack, as you build it up, you'll be building it with unit tests and so forth. But then when you want to actually, make the rubber meet the road, adding it to Zcash DevTool ends up being a very quick and easy way to start playing around with that functionality. And if you decide, okay, well, we're going to now change the dev tool to connect to Kedit's testnet with ZSAs running, well, then you're running in an environment where modulo feature flagging and whatnot, you can start interacting with the ZSAs on an actual live testnet chain. All right. I think that that we're essentially at time now. So I'll wait around for a few more questions, but otherwise that's it. One of the things that I'll be posting in the next, well, as soon as I get the PR merged, is this. So this walkthrough markdown file goes through a bunch of the stuff that we just did in terms of setting up a wallet, and it also how to. Oh, we didn't ever go back and look for our payment. We should do that real quickly. So sync the wallet. Check the balance, and there we are. I sent 1.3579 ZEC of Orchard from my Zashi wallet. Okay. Is the intention to use the same or similar wallet functionality in DevTool and Zale? If so, a common crate be created? One tool depends on the other, or how will that work? In general, the way that I see this working is that functionality will be prototyped in the dev tool, and if there's functionality that makes sense to pull out, then we will probably pull that up into Zcash client backend or Zcash client SQLite as appropriate. We probably will not share too much code at like the CLI level because they are intended for separate modalities of use. But prototyping in the dev tool, it's very often that we can sort of pull a lot of functionality more or less directly across by copying and pasting and then making the pieces work in terms of the long running Zale process. All right. So I was just walking through. The other thing that we could do here, but we're out of time, is that there's in the walkthrough, there's a whole section on demoing pieces of T support. So we can generate pieces of T using the dev tool, and we can use an import to a second dev tool wallet of a wallet's UFVK, so we can kind of simulate the interaction between an online device that just has a viewing key and an offline device that has a spending key. And working in this fashion was extremely helpful when we were developing the Keystone functionality, but it would also be hopefully extremely valuable to folks who are wanting to, say, update ledger integration or something like that. Does the dev tool work with a reg test node? I haven't tried using it with a reg test node, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. Yeah, it would just be a matter of pointing it at localhost. And the one thing that you would probably need to do is modify the dev tool, and please PR your changes upstream to be able to, for example, take network upgrade activation heights from a configuration file. So that's one respect in which the dev tool is not currently set up to work with reg test. All right. We have no more questions, so thank you all, and enjoy the remainder of your Zcon.